It's no shock that majority of gym goers have a very broad yet limited understanding when it comes to weightlifting and a clear idea of their intention behind weightlifting and so forth and reaching their goals. And most creators want to be able to bridge that gap by simplifying the workouts, simplifying the information, and making it a little bit more easier for the individual to digest the information a bit better. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be straightforward and clear cut and dry, but that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of consolidate the information as small as we can and package it out so that you guys will have a much better understanding of what you have to do, what works for you, and how you're able to navigate the gym a bit more better, especially in terms of workouts, nutrition, and all the other bits and pieces. Now, for the main part, what I really want to talk about today is legs, specifically my most favorite exercises when it comes to building those bad boys. And like I said before, I have seen it all, and this is the reason why I want to make this video, because I've just seen so many people in and out of the gym struggle with getting the most out of their leg workouts, not loving the process, not understanding enough about leg workouts and what works for them. So if by any chance this is an area where you struggle the most, this is like a pain point for you, then I hugely and I highly implore you to stick around and watch the video all the way to the end so you can soak up and digest all this information. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. I'm Arian. I am a dad of 2, PT and a coach for 8+ years now, and even now, while I'm making this video, I am still learning, I'm still adapting, I'm still absorbing information where I can collate information, make it a little bit more compact, and ship it off to you guys so it benefits you and only you. Right now, my eyes are darting back between my laptop and this because I'm having to reuse the bullet points that I have in my scripting. I'm not really good at this. I'm trying to get better at this, so the more comfortable I become speaking in front of the camera, I can speak off the top of my head without overthinking, which I'm doing right now. I need this, so I'm following off a script, so please bear with me. I'm going to keep doing this, but with me. Now, like I said, in today's video, I want to go into much greater detail about the exercises that I've chosen, why it has been proven to not only build high quality muscle, but it's also proven to develop strong and powerful set of legs that will not only support you in your day-to-day, but also improve your longevity in and out of the gym. Now, no matter what happens, the list of exercises that I've got now, these are my favorite exercises. I have to stress this right now, and I'm hoping that these are probably your favorite exercises if this is something that you might want to incorporate into your program. And the main thing at the end of the day is it's about personal preference. I've chosen these specifically because of my growth, and most of my clients who have also benefited from this, they've benefited from this. So I'm hoping that this might be something that you might want to add into your arsenal. If you haven't already, please give this a go. Tell me what you think. Exercise number 1, barbell back squat. Now, there is a reason why this is the king of all leg exercises, because it hits every part of your legs. It hits quads, hamstrings, the glutes, and indirectly it does also improve your core strength, especially your stability when it comes to going down into a squat. And because it does that, you can pretty much do a squat anywhere. You can do a squat on a chair, on a sofa, squat outside on a park bench, you can squat in the gym, you can do it any way you want. At the end of the day, it's such an overall exercise mover. It's a compound movement. It hits multiple muscle groups in one go. So in terms of versatility, you've got that under the belt. So there's no reason why you cannot incorporate barbell back squats. So do check it out, try it out. And if you don't know how to do it already, I'm about to give you some tips and tricks on how to improve it. Now, I'm going to list all these points out on the screen in a minute just so you know it's there. I'm going to just talk through each and every point. So the first one is planting your feet like a tripod. If you think of your foot right now as big toe, little toe, and the heel, that's a tripod. You want to be able to evenly spread and distribute the weight across those 3 points so you have a stable footing. By you distributing those 3 points evenly, you'll be able to perform the squat a little bit more comfortably because you're a little bit more balanced when it comes to going from A to B, in terms of when it comes down to descent. Now, a lot of times when I've seen people squat, they tend to either put too much pressure at the front, which then the heels then come off, which then of course creates that level of instability. But you have to be very mindful of that. So one of the tips I will usually give to people is go barefoot. Take the shoes off. A lot of times people are squatting in their running shoes. Get rid of the fucking shoe. You don't need that. Go flat-footed. dig your feet into the ground like you're about to crack the earth in two, and really cement your foot down, keeping a nice flat position across your big, your little, and the heel. So when you squat down, you're able to really push off to the ground and really keep a stable foot as you descend. Okay, that's point number one. Cool. Moving on. Brace the core like you're about to get punched. Okay. Now, the reason why most of coaches, myself and others, have said you have to take a deep breath in and really push the core around is because think of your core as a natural weightlifting belt, right? By you pushing out the core and really keeping it nice and tight like you're about to take a hit, you're allowing your stability, especially that center of mass, to stay nice and locked in. So when you brace, you're also protecting your lower back, but you're also bracing yourself into the descent. I might not be explaining this properly, but I'm hoping you get the gist. But take a deep breath, put it into the core, really tighten that up, control your breath as much as you can. So another tip I usually give to my clients is think of you being around chest height, right? And you're underwater right now, you're in the sea, and as you're in the sea, you want to be able to, you're literally, your head's above the water, right? If I was to tell you to go into a squat right now under the water, do you think you can breathe underwater? You probably couldn't, okay? You're not Aquaman, right? Or whatever. But you want to be able to take a deep breath before you submerge yourself underwater, right? So you take a deep breath, go underwater, hold your breath, and as you come up for air, then you exhale. So that's a great little breathing technique that you can focus on practice. So focusing on that, forget about the reps, just focus on that breathing, control the descent as much as you can, and as you come up on the way up, exhale out so you can let that flow of oxygen go through your body without buzzing yourself out. On to the third point, I think I mentioned it on the second, control the descent. Slow down. You have nowhere else to be. Control the descent as much as you possibly can, so as you get into that bottom phase, you can then explode up. So use that 2 to 3 seconds on the way down, explode up on the positive, lock out, take a deep breath again, and then repeat the process. All right. Now, on to the fourth point. This is a very underutilized point because I don't think a lot of people are really focused on that, because a lot of times people don't really care where the neck goes. But as a rule of thumb, to avoid the arch or to avoid the hunch as you go into a squat, keep the rib cage tall, keep the chest tall, and look up. Look straight ahead or up, so you keep the neck, the chest up nice and tall, so as you go into the squat, you're perfectly in line. So as you go into the descent, you're focusing on those elements. Push off through the feet, keeping the chest and the head straight forward. Bob's your uncle, you got yourself a wonderful little squat. Now, I'm not expecting these squats to be perfect, which is why I've added the fifth point, which is film yourself, okay? Spot those mistakes, look at those points and spot those mistakes to see, okay, cool, clearly I'm not bracing myself, I need to go do that. Clearly my feet's not flat enough and I'm not keeping my feet flat to the ground. That's going to be one thing I need to focus on. Clearly I'm rushing the descent and I'm not controlling the pace on the way down. I need to focus on that. By you filming yourself, you're going to be able to see those corrections, and then you can make those improvements as and when you go about doing your squats. So give that a go. Now, on to the second exercise, Romanian deadlifts. Now, once again, I'm going to list the points, have a look, give it a read while you see me doing this. Now, this is a video of me doing a dumbbell Romanian deadlift, and same again, the main thing with the Romanian deadlift, right, it's a deadlift, it's a hinging movement, it's not a squat. And what I find is I see people do squats in this. They tend to bend they overbend the knee, they tend to keep themselves way too upright, and they go into a position where they feel way more on the quads. That's not the intention behind the workout. The intention behind today's exercise, on exercise number 2, specifically hit the hamstrings and the glutes. So, point 1, push your hips back. Think of there being a resistant band around your waist, so someone's trying to pull that resistant band. So as your hips go that way, slight bend in the knee, and all you're simply doing is hinging over. So you'll see me there, pushing my hips back, keeping my chest tall, and I'm dropping into the movement, while I'm only emphasizing getting a good stretch on my hamstring and my glute. Second exercise, keep the bar close to your legs. You want it to be almost touching your shins, not to the point where it is touching, because if you pull and the barbell's quite, it's got a lot of knurlings on it, it will fucking tear your skin. And I've seen powerlifters do it. It's not nice. So keep a few inches away from your shin. Keep it close to your center of mass, because you don't want the barbell too far away to the point where as you pull, the pressure goes all towards your lower back. You want it to be an even distribution. So keep that bar as close as you can to your shin. Hinge chest tall. Jam your hips all the way through so you can engage your glutes. That's now going on to the third point. Squeeze your glutes at the top. Now, a lot of the times when people do the hinge, they put all that pressure on your lower back. So if we use the, I don't know if that's the thermodynamic law. Can't remember now. Is it thermodynamic? I believe it's a thermodynamic law, if I'm not mistaken. I did engineering. How did I forget this? It's like I've not really been using my flipping knowledge on this one. But energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. It can only be transferred. So if we think of this as a transference issue, if we pull the barbell and then the energy is transferred, if we avoid squeezing the glutes, where all that energy is going to go? It's going to go into the lower back. You're going to overuse your old lower back, and that's what's going to create lower back pain. That's going to probably hinder you away from the movement, and you're not giving the exercise its love. It's tender loving care. You're not giving it attention it needs to help you grow. So be very mindful. Squeeze your glutes through as the bar passes through the knee. Drive your hips through. Squeeze the glutes. You're going to get a much better emphasis on hitting your glutes and your hamstrings in tandem. So give that a go. Now, point number 4, which I think I mentioned in point number 1, bend the knees. It doesn't need to be an aggressive bend, it just needs to be a slight bend that as you hinge your hips, you'll be able to leverage your hamstrings. So you'll get a tiny pull as you just pass the knee all the way to the mid part of your shin. Get a little bit of a pull on your hamstring from there. The way you're the most strongest, drive and squeeze that hamstring in, keeping your lower back straight, chest up nice and tall, and head looking up. Bob's your uncle, laughing. And like any exercises, control. Point number 5, it's an add-on. Slow the F down. You have nowhere else to be. 3 to 4 seconds on the way down. Control that descent. Allow that stretch to work in your favor. The moment you feel the strongest at the bottom, drive up, squeeze your glutes, and you're going to be able to hit the hamstrings. Like I said on point 4, slight bend in the knees, happy hamstrings. You're going to be okay. You're going to be laughing. Cool. On to the third exercise. Now, I don't know if I've got a video for this one. I feel like I do actually to scour my flipping library for this, but I'll probably find one on an overlay in a minute. But Bulgarian split squat. This exercise, I tell you right now, like this is a love-hate relationship kind of thing. Same with the lunges, which I think I've got. No, I don't. That'll be on another video. But Bulgarian split squats, they've got a special place in hell. Seriously, that is a separate department on its own. Good lord. If done properly, you can pretty much leverage this exercise in many different ways. You can be way more close quartered and hit the quads and hamstrings, or you can be a little bit more length forward with longer stride to hit way more of the glutes. Now, same again, listen all 5 points. Go into it. Use support for balance if needed. Right? Now, you can place your feet on a bench. You can place your feet on a pad that's attached to the squat rack. You can do it up against anything, park bench, sofa, whatever, you name it. Now, with the Bulgarian split squat, if done properly, you can leverage a lot of hypertrophy in that lower part of the body, right? You can hit a lot more harder. It's way more demanding and stressful, but like I said, you just have to take your time. Same again, find support, get yourself fixed into one base, and control the descent as much as you can. You will be hitting those legs like without a shadow of doubt. But the thing is, with this exercise specifically, if you go into the descent and you start feeling pain, it's only going to get worse when you switch legs. That I'm going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt. That will mess you up. But like I said, it's a fantastic exercise. It's a massive leg builder. If done properly, you will hit every muscle in the lower body and you protect yourself. And on top of that, it's a great way of strengthening your core as well as your unilateral balance. So on to point number 2. Now, point number 2 is let the back knee drop down and behind. The reason why I say that is a lot of the times when I've seen people do split squats, specifically my clients and some of my people, which I'm of course more than happy to share, I've seen people drop their knee down rather than at an angle, right? Because the whole point of the Bulgarian split squat is you don't want to jam the knee down, because all you're going to do is hit that floor. Whereas if you're using a barbell pad or you're using a pad in general that's attached to the thing that allows it to roll through, you'll be able to allow the knee to naturally go in its arc form, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it, but dropping that back knee, allowing the chest to draw and stay tall, you'll be able to allow way more lengthening and the stretch on that quad and the glute. So then when you push off the front, you'll be able to squeeze more on the back leg, hitting that glute and hamstring, depending on what your preferences are, which then of course works for you. That then of course follows on to point number 3. Long stride equals glutes, short stride equals quads. Reason behind, if you go for a longer step forward and lean into the movement as you drop your back knee, you'll be able to hit way more on the posterior chain. But if you bring your feet and close the gap a bit more between your front and your back leg together, you'll be able, and you drop your knee down and keep your chest tall, you're going to be able to hit the quads a bit more. So depending on what your goals are, you can then of course self-adjust, which totally your preference, whatever your goals are. If you're a female and you want to hit your glutes a bit more harder, by all means. Same again, if you want to hit quads, for most males, they want to hit quads a bit more so it looks more fuller, go for that. Once again, no judgment, you do what makes you feel comfortable. Now, you don't want to be able, now, in the point that I just made now, onto the 4th point, I've written keep the torso upright and don't lean forward. Now, the reason why I say don't lean forward in terms of this is purely because a lot of the times I see people drop too far forward to the point where they're then trying to make the movement work for them when the movement should work. So, on to point 4. Now, on point 4, I've written keep the torso upright and don't lean forward. I've contradicted myself from the previous point because on the previous point I said you can lean forward. The reason why I've written it this way, which of course I'm going to make an amendment now, I should have made an amendment instead, I'm going to write excessively. Now, the reason why I've written this is because when I've seen people do a split squat, they have a tendency to drop into the movement, but then they tend to lean far forward to then over leverage their lower back and then trying to make the movement work in their favor when the exercise is the way it is. You want the exercise to fit your needs, but you don't want to be able to fit the exercise's needs. So don't just do the exercise for the sake of it if you're not going to get the technique and the form right. So control the descent, go nice and slow into the movement, see how it works for you, and then go from there. Now, if you want to leverage the exercise in your favor, point number 5, pause at the bottom, around 1 to 2 seconds, so you can eliminate and kill the momentum. I've seen too many people utilize, and this goes for lunges as well. When you go into a split squat, you want to be able to use a split squat to your advantage. So you want to be able to leverage the momentum at the bottom, but then completely kill the momentum at the bottom. So as you push off with the front, you'll be able to maximize contraction and tension on the lower body, which is going to hit a bit more harder for you. But of course, it's going to be a detriment nonetheless, but you're going to benefit from this. And as you get stronger, the weeks and weeks are going to go by, the more consistent you become with this system, the more you're going to be able to leverage. So make the most of this and double down. Cool. Now, exercise number 4, I've got leg press. Leg press, to me, no matter what happens, if you ain't got a squat available or you can't be asked to do a squat, which I do highly advise you do, which is point 1 if you ain't ready or watch it yet. Leg press. There's a reason why leg press has its praise, because it's the alternative. It's the alternative to a barbell squat because it hits the legs just as hard, just as fast, and just with high level of accuracy. So I've written, yet again, 5 other points. Have a look. I'm going to list them out on the screen like I said before. Foot position. Now, you can place your feet however you want. You can put it in staggered stance, high, low, wide, narrow, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I've listed them all there in terms of what they do and their preferences. Depending on what your preferences and your training regimen entails, you can utilize this as a base on standing. High position is hitting the glutes and hamstring because you'll have to go high and wide. Low, keeping it close and tucked into the body. It's going to hit the quads if you angle it right. Wide, like in that close proximity, in the lower proximity, wide stance, turning your feet out is going to hit the inner thigh, and keeping it very, very narrow, turning your toes and feet in is going to hit the outer quad. This is not an exact science, but it's a great way of getting you started. The main thing is you now can have a chance to mess around with it. So for example, if you have 2 leg sessions in a week and an upper lower part split, you could do one that hits more quad and the other that hits more hamstring, and you'll be able to like makeshift the leg press workout. Now in the video that I've got overlaid now, well, that has been overlaid. I've added a resistance band. Now, most leg presses are not designed the same. They have different levels of resistance and different levels of tension on the way down, on the way up. On the leg press that I've got at the moment, it's too light. I'm not saying I can't go heavier, but that's not the point. The point is, as I'm using the movement, I can't seem to engage my quads. I'm just repping them out even when I do go heavier weight. So when I do go 3 plates aside or 4 plates aside, I'm not feeling my quads, I just feel the movement. I'm not trying to do that. I want engagement, I want tension, I want proper maximum contractions of my quads. But in order for me to do that, I need to be able to leverage it in my favor. So adding a light resistant band of sorts that won't pop and tear around the leg press itself to add an extra layer of tension has allowed me to leverage my knees, leverage my quads, hamstrings in my favor. So it forces me to work harder against the plate and control the movement a bit more, which is of course putting way more pressure on my quads and hamstring, which is giving me the reward I want. Resistant band, that's a cool little tip. Give that a go, see if you like it. I'm not saying go crazy ballistic with the resistant bands, but use that as a temporary fix. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the whole point is you want to be able to leverage the weight more for yourself. The resistant band is just helping me get accustomed to that machine so I can get really good at get my legs to work in my favor, not the other way around. Second point I've made here, do not lock your knees out. I don't think I have to explain this. I don't know if you've experienced it, if you've done a squat or if you've done leg press or done anything and you've locked your knees out. Do you know how annoyingly painful it is? And in the beginning stages for yourself, it might not bother you right now, but over time it compounds and it will become a detriment to your health, because all you've got to do is place all that pressure on your knees. It's not right. So keep them soft knees. Keep them loose. As you come down, as you come down into the movement and you press off, don't lock your knees at the top, because good lord, it can go very left very quickly. I'm not even gonna lie. Pull up any YouTube gym fail video and you're gonna see a good few videos of people doing leg presses or squats or Smith squats where they lock their knees out too quickly and then they pop. So be very mindful of that. Okay, so take your time, control, keep them knees soft, go through it. Now, with the leg presses, now in the squats earlier, in order for you to maximize squats, proper form and technique matters. That is without a shadow of doubt, and that goes for any leg exercises you do. On the leg press specifically, you're able to utilize full leverage of the weight and full range of motion, with no doubt. So if you see here, I've put full range of motion greater than heavy half reps. What is the absolute point of you going super heavy if you can't get full range of motion? This is your perfect opportunity. This is the opportunity that you've been waiting for to build your legs. Why fuck it up? Go for full range of motion. Lower the weight, control the descent as much as you can. Let the hips, the knees open up. Leverage the weight in your favor and push off with good high control. Okay? And that then goes on to the fourth point. Control down, slow down. You ain't got nowhere else to be. Stop rushing, take your time. This is where everything gets perfected. So control on the way down, 3 seconds, explode up on the top with eager to get off the machine, and repeat that process for however many reps you have prescribed for yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the whole point is you start from now, build, get that foundations going, work, make it work in your favor, and go from there. And the last but not least, on fifth point here that I've got, which I'm not even gonna lie, that fifth point is probably the fifth point for every one of these. Leave the ego at the door, okay? Leave the ego at the door. You're here to train, you're here to get quality, you're here to build. Leave ego lifting right at the door, because no one cares for that, no one wants to see that, no one wants to see you. In the nicest way, if I'm watching you and you're doing 5-6 plates, if you're not doing that with proper form, what's the point? Do it right. And if you can't do it right, ask us. We're more than happy to help. The whole point of it is you're here to build, we're here to help. Come on now. So stop ego lifting. No one cares for that. On to exercise 5. This is actually my favorite exercise when it comes to building hamstring. I think this has helped me a lot in terms of leveraging the most amount of weight. Lying leg curls. Now, once again, I'm gonna overlay a video. Now, when it comes to lying leg curls, I've seen people do this so wrong. Specifically when it comes to utilizing the equipment and favoring it in terms of the movement and in terms of contraction, engagement, and all the other little bits and pieces added together. Point number 1, pad just above the feet. Okay, you just want it behind the ankle, just where the Achilles is, and you want to be able to really get comfortable with it. It should almost be like a puzzle, jigsaw puzzle. hugs it, okay? And then once you go, you want to be able to keep the knee slightly bent. The main thing with this movement is a lot of the times when people do this hamstring leg curl is they tend to curl the machine towards them or bring the heels towards their bum. But as they're doing it, they lift their hips off the pad. You lose the tension, you lose engagement where it matters the most, which is the hamstrings. So jam your hips into that pad as much as you possibly can, like almost to the point where almost to the point where you're glued to the pad. Jam those hips through, and as you curl, do not lift the bar. Keep the arse down, jammed into the seat, point toes downwards to maximize hamstring focus, so you're flexing the toes forward. And as you lower into the face, get a good stretch in the movement. Do not lock the knees at the bottom, keep the tension on and squeeze on the way to the top. Now in the video you're going to see me lean up a bit more because I have a tendency that as the weight leverages me a bit more, I tend to lift my hips up. So in order for me to mitigate that, I'm lifting myself onto the pad, arching up a bit more, so I'm seated, so it forces me to jam my hips into the pad so I can then leverage the weight a bit more in my favor. And there you have it, 5 of the best leg exercises to help you build strength, size and power in those bad boys. Now remember, the main thing with these workouts is that any workouts given, anything that you've created, consistency is key. You need to stay at it. It doesn't mean, it's not about lifting the heaviest, it's not about trying to maximize the full amount of weight and to stack the leg press and to plate the squat and to move the pin down onto the machine and you'll be able to max everything out. No one cares about that stuff. If you can get it properly, you're able to get the form, the technique, and you're able to manage the increase in intensity, you are going to dominate. So if by any chance you found this video helpful, I would super appreciate if you can drop a comment below and let me know what you thought. Like I said, if you found it helpful, please do not forget to hit the like button, the subscribe, and share with your friends if in any way they need to level up their leg game. Okay, main thing is thank you for watching, thank you for being a part of this video, thank you for watching it all the way to the end. If you had, I will be making more and more content. I'm going to try and make it a weekly thing, but like I said, 2025 is going to be a wonderful year and I can't wait. This whole video will stand the testament of time and I can't wait for more people to show up. I will catch you guys on the next one. As always, stay strong.